So my goal for this episode, Give Me This Mountain, is really just to discuss what true power is. True power versus ego power. And the idea is that faith and power are the same thing. The word faith is power, because faith is this total surrendering, this total non-attachment, total letting go, refusing to cling to anything. And this is where true power comes from non-attachment. And when we desire things, we're attached to things, we're attached to an outcome, we need things to be a certain way to be happy. This is where powerlessness comes from. And this is what blocks manifestation from happening. But I've sort of laid out this series in the way that I have on purpose, because in order to really understand these concepts at the end of the series, we have to first understand, at least begin to understand, who we really are. We have to go beyond the small self, the psychological self, if we want to become powerful. We have to become the universe. So a phrase I've said a couple of times in this series so far, and I say quite often on my Instagram, is this idea of just being nobody, being nothing. And in spirituality, when we say this, what we basically mean is that the universe itself is infinite. The universe goes on forever in all directions, outside of time and space. So it doesn't have a fixed identity like we do. It's not like you can say, hey guys, look, it's Stan, the universe. Guys, meet Stan. Stan, my viewers. Stan is a little shy at first, but when you get to know him, he's really nice. No, the universe is nobody. It's all nothing arising out of nowhere, happening for nobody. It's this eternal unfolding. And this dimension of infinity exists within you, and we access it through silence, through coming in touch with our own stillness and silence. The universe is infinite. There can never be a finite universe, because a finite universe needs a source. If there's a boundary to the universe, what's beyond the boundary? Finite universe cannot exist, but infinity doesn't need a source. Infinity is the source. And infinity exists inside of you right now. And it's the silence. It's not the thoughts. Thoughts are finite. They come and they go. They have a countdown. They have a lifetime, a lifespan. Silence is eternal. And that's why we love coming out in nature, because it shows us who we really are. But 99% of people never get in touch with the dimension of silence in themselves, because they're totally identified with thinking, with their thinking brain, thinking mind. And this becomes a huge problem, especially when we want to manifest things, attract good things to ourselves. But a good way of getting out of this trap of thinking that you are your thoughts is to ask yourself the question, what is there between two thoughts? If I am my thoughts, then when one thought arises and then leaves, and there's that gap of silence before the next thought starts, who is there? What is there? You are there. You are there in the silence. Because you actually are the silence, not the thoughts. There's a phrase that says, as within, so without, or as above, so below. So around us right now, we see basically two things in the universe. We see space, and objects in space. And we need both for the contrast. They're both good. But which one existed first? Which one is the original? Is it the objects or the space? It's the space. The objects arise out of space. And the same is true for you. Do the thoughts come first, or does the silence come first? Thoughts arise out of silence. Silence doesn't arise out of thoughts. And so, if you can be silent and you can think, and we know that silence comes first, then how can you be separate from that? How can you be anything else? You are silence, because you are infinity. Because the thing about infinity is that if infinity exists, if we acknowledge that the universe is infinite, then we are simultaneously acknowledging that you are it. If infinity exists, then you are infinity, experiencing this person right now. But that's all you can be and all you ever have been. Thoughts are ultimately just an illusion the universe creates through the mind to give us this experience of being a finite thing. You know, I couldn't have this experience of being Aaron Abke without this body and this mind. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. It's beautiful. But when we're only identified with it, it becomes a problem, a big problem. It causes us to suffer. Because we always take on the limitations of whatever we identify with, right? And even the idea that I am the chooser of thoughts is also an illusion created by the mind. There is no chooser of thoughts. There is no thinker of thoughts. Thoughts are arising by themselves. They are an automatic mechanical mechanism based on our genetics, societal conditioning, cultural conditioning. And so let's say I'm hiking and I feel hunger pangs and I think, oh, I'm hungry, I'd like a sandwich. And my mind says, I am the chooser of the thought. I chose the thought, I would like a sandwich. I really do exist. Well, was there a selection of thoughts before me? Who was there choosing that thought? Did it just arise, or did I go, okay, thought 1, I'm thirsty. Thought 2, I want to watch Netflix. Thought 3, I'm hungry, I want a sandwich. I select thought 3. Thought. That never happens, right? It just arises. And the mind takes credit for it and steps in and says, oh, I was there choosing the thought. So it's like the clown who takes a bow at the end of the play as the curtains close. But the clown was never in the play. And this is a beautiful realization. This is when awakening happens. And so if you want to get in touch with the dimension of silence in yourself, the dimension of infinity within yourself that you've never explored before, maybe, there's a really good sort of tricky little mantra I learned years and years ago. And it's the phrase, what is my next thought going to be? Ask yourself. Don't just say it, but really ask yourself. And this causes the mind to sort of glitch out for 5 or 10 seconds. And you experience silence, stillness, vastness, spaciousness. And here there is no fear. There is no doubt. There is no anxiety. There is nobody. But there is you. And the mind says, I don't want to be silence. I want to be thoughts. If I'm not thoughts, then that means I don't exist. That's a scary thought. But even that is witnessed by you. You are still there witnessing the idea of, oh, that's a scary thought. You can never vanish. You can never disappear. You are the eternal I am. So we can do it right now. Take 10 seconds. Close your eyes. Center yourself. Ask yourself the question, what is my next thought going to be? And there you are. The infinity between thoughts.